What's going on, y'all? So listen. What's going on, y'all? So we back again. We back again for another episode review of the Real Housewives of Potomac. This is season 7, reunion part 2. Okay. Let's just get up into it because I feel like this probably gonna be a little messy and I'm kinda here for it. But if it ain't, girl, I just make it do what it do. Y'all know how I am. But anyway, so it picks up where it left off last week when Candace was going at Giselle, right? Now see, when I was doing a review, instantly when I heard that dwindling uterus comment, I was just like, oh my goodness, I knew people was either gonna like it or people was gonna be here for it, meaning this what Giselle get, or people was gonna be in their feelings and be like, that's disgusting. You shouldn't talk about women like that and their uterus, and especially since she just had a hysterectomy and all of this stuff or whatever. What if it happens to you when that karma? Girl, shut up. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say about that for a second. Because listen, a part of me, as I said in my review last week, I said 15% of me felt like, you know what, Candace, that really wasn't right. I felt a little way slightly because, you also had issues with trying to, you're trying to get pregnant and stuff like that. And then, somebody had to correct me and say she wasn't doing IVF. She was trying to get her eggs and freeze them. Girl, she was doing the egg retrieval when she was having issues with it too. Okay, same thing is dealing with the reproductive organs and all that stuff. Who gives a care? Semantics, bitch. Okay, but anyway. And then I said 85% of me just don't care because it's Giselle and she was doing some nasty stuff to, she started a lot of stuff. And as I started to think about it and talk about it and go through it, since that went off, I don't care. I don't care how Giselle may feel. I don't care if people feel as though that was messed up. Giselle literally possibly could have damaged somebody's reputation by putting out stuff and keep on talking about it. And not only that, you're participating in other people talking about stuff and you're twisting things, and you're basically, we're in the day of the Me Too. Me Too is not over with, okay? And so you could have literally made it so that Chris couldn't get no job. You know what I'm saying? Deborah, you're a part of it too. Mia, your ass as well, because y'all up here putting out this false stuff that's not true, and it's the evidence of the video that just the footage just backing it up that it's not true. You know what I'm saying? And Giselle is Giselle. Like, girl, I don't care. You cannot talk about somebody. You cannot come at people for so long and then expect them to have respect for you when they coming back at you, and they supposed to censor their self and not say stuff and hit you hard just the way that you hit them hard. No. So if Candace want to say the dwindling uterus comment, I chuckled. It is what it is. I'm just going to be 100% honest. As I look at it now, and when they replayed it on this reunion part 2, that's what I did. And you can say, oh, that ain't right. I actually don't care. Moving on from that. What was getting irritating me was the fact that, Candace and Giselle were going back and forth. Candace don't want to accept her apology, understandably. And they was like, you basically saying that Giselle wants Chris to apologize. And they were like, apologize for what? That's what Candace kept on saying. Apologize for what? What did he exactly do for making you feel uncomfortable? In the way that she keep on putting it out there is as if, Chris did more than made her feel uncomfortable. And he's already said, well, I apologize if I made you feel uncomfortable. In that message, that's all that you're going to get. That's all that you're going to get. I wouldn't say nothing else, okay? Because, girl, whatever. Nobody would have been denying that or whatever if it wasn't for the way that you was holding on to the stuff and you're waiting 6 months to say something when the camera snap on. Now, let me get on Mia for a second. Mia Pumpkin Eater. Let me tell you something, Miss Ma'am. Girl, you got enough mess going on this show. We can do a whole couple of 3 episodes on you and the board that you got going on right about now, okay? I just didn't understand. Everybody else was being quiet. Everybody else was sitting there waiting their turns, which I was surprised. I think Maybe Wendy jumped in, but you know that was at the beginning. But when it came time for Candace and Giselle to answer questions and go on, they was talking. Nobody else was. Why are you interrupting and trying to put your 2 cents in? Girl, this ain't about you. And I was so glad when Candace said, girl, shut up. Okay? And she didn't even look at her. She said, girl, shut up. She was like, shut up. And she was talking about something. You are, dragging it out and you made it bigger than it was. Girl, shut up. Ain't nobody talking to you, Mia. I don't even care what she had to say. It was just irritating me that she was putting her 2 cents in. And you, girl, shut up. Nobody was talking to you. I just kept on asking, why are you talking? Meanwhile, we move on from that, and then we talk about this whole situation with Robin, what is it? The whole thing about the speaker and the clip that she played about Candace Instagram live and all this shit. Robin proved that she is the most dumbest person on this cast right about now. She has took the top position and she is very contradictory. And the fact that they have in the editing, they are literally showing the contradiction with the stuff that she said prior. Okay. You up here talking about, you should be able to put everything out there on the show or whatever, put everything on display. But yet, as they showed the clip, because they're going to do the little interview, I don't know if it's going to be this episode or next week, but they're going to do the little interview. And it said 2 weeks later about how your ass didn't put your business all up on the tape, all up on the film, all in the season. So how you gonna tell Candace that that's what they needed to do, but yet you can't do the same thing? You're a big walking fucking contradiction. Just like when you said, it doesn't look right when a married man and a woman in a room together, whatever. Juan, technically speaking, he wasn't your husband at the time, but y'all was very much common law married, if you want to say so. Give or take the numbers, baby. We just putting stuff out there. Technically speaking, that was your wifey, he was your wifey, or whatever, your hubby or whatever. I don't know, but he was up in the room in a whole relationship with you, allegedly, and then he was cheating and all that stuff. Girl, get out of here. You just a walking contradicting. And like Candy said, she said, how did you get that clip? Why would you put that out there? And you was trying to make me look bad, but in the end, you made yourself look stupid because, again, even Andy said, she said a whole bunch of good stuff about you in that live, and she was like, well, I got it from a blog, somebody from a blog sent the clip to me and it was just a clip and that's all that I saw. And I'm sitting here like, again, how dumb can you be? Robin, you have been on this show now 7 seasons. And as they were filming this, we're going to say 6. But you should know already how the reality TV game goes and how social media goes in conjunction with that. They work hand in hand. And you should already know that you should not pay attention to what's on the blogs because 9 out of 10, a lot of that shit ain't right. Okay? And then if you're going to get sent something and this is supposed to be your friend and it's just a clip, how about you go ask your friend, you got an issue with me? And you could have even called her up on the show. Y'all, you could have been on the phone with her on the show and recorded that before you wanted to try to put her on blast in front of everybody. You know what I'm saying? Because if she didn't want nobody to see it, she wouldn't have did an Instagram live that was public, okay? And all you really had to do was go back to the actual live and look at it instead of that one particular clip. See, them little clips be getting everybody fucked up. They be getting everybody fucked up, okay? Y'all be falling for the bullshit. And girl, you should already know. You should already know. All right, and like Candy said, you the one that came out looking dumb. Meanwhile, they was about to get into it with the husbands or whatever. The husbands was about to come out. Girl, Wendy had to say, listen. Wendy was telling Eddie, Mia kept on bringing up your name. She brought your name up like multiple times. And the way that they was back there cracking up, they my favorite. I don't care. At this point, hilarious, okay? Because they just don't take shit serious. At this point, they really don't, because it's just really laughable if you can. We was fighting for you, Chris. We fighting for you. I said, child, the whole time. I said, is Sharice coming on this episode? Because let me just tell you this. All Karen was doing was giving us facial expressions. That's it. This is the most quiet I've ever seen Karen on a reunion stage, okay? We are in part 2, and Mama hasn't said nothing yet, and we just at the beginning. And I'm just sitting here like, oh, you waiting, you gearing up. Okay, we'll see. So as the show comes back, girl, we getting into it about, Giselle and her hysterectomy and her stuff or whatever, and the live show and all that stuff. So, we talk about Karen. Karen finally spoke up, okay, because something was actually addressed to her. And it was talking about the little variety show that she did. Andy said, girl, so what you was doing, you was trying to get your inspiration from, you probably, I think, Luann DeSapp or whatever. I think that's who it was, the Countess. And if for those that don't watch Real Housewives of New York, that's where Luann comes from. But she was like, no, that wasn't my inspiration. I got my inspiration from Carol Burnett. Okay. And I was like, all right. And Andy said, but you just said Wendy Williams. Said, baby, the way that they was tripping Karen up. She said, girl, well, you know what I mean. I said, all right, to this day, girl, all right, Karen. But, they talked about the Reasonably Shady podcast. They have 80 episodes, over 4 million listeners or whatever, girl. I'm surprised. Meanwhile, Robin was like, and when we got into the podcasting, we had never done a podcast. I've never heard a podcast before. Wendy gonna say, well, that's not wise. And I said, well, Wendy, hold on. Because at the end of the day, I kind of appreciate the fact that they did not listen to other podcasts, because sometimes, and especially if they was going into the same field, sometimes people will listen to like the same things that's being said, and then you inadvertently or subconsciously not realizing that you're saying and taking some of the stuff that they said and you're saying is who, so you want to be authentic. You don't want to be accused of copying nobody. So I'm not mad that Robin and Giselle never listened to a podcast before they started a podcast, okay? That's not saying that they didn't research it or whatever, but never listened to a podcast. That's fine. So Wendy, you could have kept that to yourself, but I know you just wanted to get your little licks in or whatever. Even Robin said, don't even be a hater. I said, yeah, Wendy, don't be a hater right then and there. And we can hate on a whole bunch of other stuff, but just not that one. I ain't seen nothing wrong with that. Meanwhile, they was like, the common denominator, Karen, is you. What you talk about everybody up here doing the same thing. Girl, Karen, let me just say this. I don't know if I believe you, but girl, you did come out with the situation about you doing the candle line and all that stuff or whatever. And you had already said that you was gonna do it, and they showed the clip. When that had came out or whatever, somebody posted the clip from years ago that she did say that. And she was like, I was just trying to extend grace to Wendy. It was just the way that she said it that was just making me look at her like, girl, what? Like, you really doing her a favor? Karen, calm down, okay? And then we get up into the whole situation with Giselle. She got the house done. She's gonna be there until the girls fully get out. Girl, we get into the whole hysterectomy of it all. She didn't really want to speak about it. Andy said, she was like, we'll talk about it later. Andy said, no, we'll talk about it now, okay? So basically, you're doing a biopsy. You find out that, you got this stuff that's going on, that you're going to have to get a hysterectomy. The hysterectomy procedure was supposed to go for 3.5 hours, and it wound up going for 8.5. And, of course, people were scared. That's the scary thing, because, you don't ever want to be told that something is going on, and then, it's supposed to be this time, and then all of a sudden it's like, what's happening? They're in there longer. You thinking so many thoughts in your head that something else is going wrong. And so, of course, you see Giselle up there tearing up, and I was like, oh, the shit women gotta go through. I could put my because listen, and then Giselle said that this was one of those situations. She said this probably, out of all her whole time of being on this show, that probably was the most things that people had actually hit her up and was talking about she's ever gotten. And somebody said, either Candace or one of them said, because this is your first time ever being real. And I said the same thing. You literally could have made your storyline about that. If Wendy made her storyline about her having kidney stones, was it kidney stone? kidney stones and being dehydrated and stuff. Baby, you could have made your thing about you having a hysterectomy and all that stuff, and you could have put it on the show as well. We could have saw you getting wheeled in. We could have saw you getting wheeled out. We could have saw your recovery process and all that stuff. That would have been way more, and I feel like you would have got a lot more people on your side, and they wouldn't have thought that you was being so messy. But you, even in the time of you trying to get your body together because you know you got some health issues, you still was being messy, and we still don't feel shit for you. You fucked yourself. Anyway, there's that. Oh, and I forgot to say, they brought up the whole thing about Chris and Deborah, okay, and they was like, Ashley, we just saw the footage or whatever that your girlfriend had said. Miss Cookie Monster said that, you know, Chris was always up there talking to him and flirting and all that stuff or whatever. Ashley said, now when I seen the footage, I was just like, oh my God, I was just really shocked because, you know, Deborah, I've never known her to lie. But she said when she looked at the footage, you could tell that, you know, it was editing because his mouth didn't line up with the words. I said, Deborah, you got your goddamn nerves. I said, bring Deborah ass out. Bring Deborah ass out. I really wanted her to pop up on this stuff so they can get her. Because let me tell you something. Bitch, you was on this goddamn show for 2 seconds. For 2 seconds. And now you want to blame editing, girl. Girl. Stop it. Stop it, ma'am. Stop it. But anyway, back into the flow of things. Yeah, Giselle had the 8.5-hour hysterectomy surgery. You know, she was staying up in the hospital when she didn't want to. I mean, girl, you was under for 8.5 hours, girl. Now I know you that ain't no outpatient at that moment, okay? You know, she said something was going on with her bladder. She had a catheter, all that stuff. Woo, woo, woo. Moving on from that, not trying to sound insensitive, but basically she had a rough time. And you go into surgery, you just never know what's going to happen. They can tell you one thing and something else can come up with it. You know what I'm saying? The thing that I learned out of that whole situation was the fact that Giselle has a sister. I said, a sister? Bitch, bring the sister on the goddamn show. Because listen, girl, is she like you? Is she like you, or is she the complete opposite? Which one? Girl, because I said, a sister? You got siblings? Since when? Since birth? I said, is you older or is she older? Like, which one? I mean, now see, this is the thing. This is the thing with Giselle. And see, they got on Giselle about the fact that how come you didn't tell anybody about your stuff? And Andy brought this up. You don't discuss it with the other women or whatever. You don't discuss it on the show. You put your stuff out there on the show because you want everybody else to discuss their issues and stuff like that on the show. And she said, I do film stuff. It's not up to me what they edit and put on or whatever. But I'm not finna sit here and talk about stuff with people that I don't like and gonna point to Wendy like this. And Wendy said, bitch, I don't like you either. And so what sense does that make? And I said, that's not an excuse. Because at the end of the day, the same way Wendy did her situation where she filmed herself going to the hospital, she filmed herself having issues or whatever, and she was not with the girls in the group. You could have did that. You could have been going through your whole day and your whole situation. Had your sister come down, be filming if she wanted to. You know what I'm saying? If she gave permission. Talking to your daughters. You could have had the filming going on about y'all getting ready to go to the hospital. You know, them sitting there being worried, baby. It could have been good TV because I would have been sitting there like, damn, is she all right? Girl, I would have felt a little something. A little something. There is no excuse, okay? I don't care about this Steve guy. You're not together. You never were. This whole Jason guy situation, baby, we don't care. Andy said, so, if y'all still together next season, you gonna bring him on the show? Girl, the fact that he said if, because we already know, Jason gonna be gone before they start filming. Okay, that's just it. It's a little boy toy situation, and moving on from that, we get on the whole situation with Mia and Wendy. Okay, now, I'm just say this. Mia is full of shit. Mia is truly full of shit. We get that, you know, we talk about Wendy and her health issues. She's doing better. She got to change her diet up, you know, drink a lot more water and all that stuff. Okay, fine. Moving on from that. We get into this whole situation with Mia and Wendy and the whole thing that happened. And I'ma just say, I can't stand a person that, even like Wendy said, even after a whole year, almost a year has passed, you still can't take accountability for the things that you done. This bitch talking about I'm up here trying to talk to her about business or whatever, and the way that it came out didn't come out the way that I intended it. You were not trying to talk to her about business, because at the end of the day, Wendy's business, and you and her don't have business together. You don't have a physical business. Y'all don't have no type of interaction like that. You did not like that girl. You were starting stuff, okay? So whatever business she was trying to actually have with Peter, that's just what it was. Peter was the one that should have talked to her. You don't relay messages, especially when you don't know the basis of everything that's going on, and you're only getting tad bits or whatever. And he was being messy because he knew that you was gonna be messy, and he know because you probably done told him already that you don't fuck with her like that, and so you couldn't wait to say something to try to get her and cut her down. All right, that's just what it is. You were 100% wrong in that situation, trying to say the only reason why she got so hyped up like that was because it was so much that was being said, so much that was being done, and she was just saying so much stuff. And Andy said, you know what? And you was talking about the fact that she was saying stuff about your husband, but she really didn't say nothing about your husband. That is what Andy said. And we all like, exactly. Okay. And then, when the whole situation coming out, they talked about the whole thing with Peter and their relationship with Mia and Gordon and the ex-girlfriend. Girl, we don't care. But at one point, when they was talking about business and stuff like that, and you up here talking about this, why Mia want to throw out there, oh, let's talk about the fact that you was fucking around with Peter, and I got receipts because you was trying to fuck to get a bar one down there in Baltimore. I said, now Mia, girl, everybody, first of all, here go Robin. I said, now Robin, you shut the fuck up. You uncurl your face and you shut the fuck up, okay? And then I was just like, and I think it was Kendall's like, that ain't even true. Baby, it wasn't even one of those type of situation. Baby, we believe the fact that you will fuck Peter before we believe that Peter and goddamn Wendy bone. Okay, like, let's stop it. Let's stop it. Liar, liar, pants on fire. Stop it, girl. It don't even make sense. So yeah, and I'm just sitting here like, girl, Candace and everybody was like, girl, get out of here. Me, and she was like, yeah, and I have receipts, okay? Because I saw them. They went out to dinner and they stayed late and they were talking. I said, Mia, as soon as you start that sing-songy ass shit that you was doing, we knew that it was a lie. We knew it was a lie as soon as it came out your mouth, but we knew it was a lie even more the way that you was trying to explain it. Because I saw the film. Where is it? Where is it? I would have pulled that camera out like this and said, there it is. I was waiting, Mia. I was waiting. But anyway, at the end of the day, Mia, you were 100% wrong. And I was so glad to a certain extent. I wanted Andy to go in a little bit more, but he did go in and call people out on what they was doing. Saying, Mia, you was wrong because you put that shit on her. You hit her. You threw water on her, and you hit her on with your purse and everything. You assaulted her twice. Technically speaking, you assaulted her twice, okay? And then he got on Robin's ass because people was like, how come you up here, basically trying to call Wendy antagonistic when you was the one sitting there like, if you go fight, all that stuff. But yet, she was the one who had the stuff done to her. And that's what Wendy was saying as well. And Robin held it. And when Andy said, because Wendy gonna say, not Wendy, but Robin said, I don't know what I would do if I had a drink thrown on me. And then Andy said, we saw what happened with the umbrella situation. I told her to put the umbrella down and she did. I said, girl, you've been in a couple of situations that could be considered aggressive, especially when you was up in Ashley's face. And let's get on that, okay? Because let's remember when you was up there talking about the whole situation about when they was talking about her coming at Robin and telling her, saying that she was about to fight her in the whole Sharice situation, and she was lying about the fact that, Sharice didn't have to put her hands on her to hold her back or whatever, and she was like, well, I just stood up. I just stood up. It wasn't like I was finna do anything. And Wendy said, listen, I don't know where you from, but where we from, or at least where I'm from, anybody stands up and you in a heated argument, we don't know which way that's gonna go, so you always get prepared. And we already know when you in a heated argument with somebody and they stand up and they start stepping forward, or they stand up and they go like, they just stand up like that, it's a possibility that a fight might go down, okay? So, Robin, cut the bullshit. Because you did the exact same thing to Ashley in her restaurant when you stood dead in her face and you put your hands all up in her face. Ashley could have popped your ass then. Okay, so let's not act like you didn't know what you was going to do. Just talk about something you was just standing up. Girl, you could have sat down if that's the case. If you weren't going to do nothing, you could have stayed seated. All right, but we get back onto this whole situation with the antagonistic comment or whatever, and she talking about something. I was talking to her, and people forget the fact that I was up there trying to tell her, you know, if you don't want this to happen and you're not gonna fight, don't say anything else. Don't say anything else. Robin, at the end of the day, let me just tell you this, bitch. If she wanted to continue to talk, she could continue to talk. And even if you was up in that situation and you wanted to be a buck and everything, you would have had every right to do so. You would have had every right to do so, because that bitch threw water on her and she hit her with a purse. And she was all up in her business, okay? So there's a whole bunch of stuff. There is no excusing the behavior, talking about some, you know, whatever the fuck it was, you antagonizing her, you doing this and you doing that, it don't fucking matter, okay? She had every right. You cannot tell, and I'm so glad Andy said that, shoot, you can't tell nobody how the fuck to respond to somebody that's coming at them like that. After it gets physical, throwing that drink on her was physical. Hitting her with that purse was physical. And like Wendy said, she could have beat the fuck out of Mia. And Mia, you would not have survived that shit. And then again, I hate the fact that they keep bringing up, Robin, you want to use this excuse. Oh, you know, I was just thinking that Karen probably would have got up and she would have did something. Why the fuck did Karen got to get up and do something? Why the hell would Candace have to get up and do something? Why the hell would Ashley have to get up and do something? Why the hell would Giselle have to get up and do something? None of y'all had to didn't have to get up and do anything. Truth be told, because it's not your responsibility to try to break up these two grown women who should know better, okay? So quit putting it on one person. That ain't her issue. That ain't her issue, and it ain't yours either. So you should have shut the fuck up and kept eating your food, because Ashley would have watched that shit until my name got called in some stuff and a piece of a drop. Okay, a drop. And if I would have felt the air from that purse touch me, baby, that's when Ashley would have jumped in that shit, okay? But other than that, I paid for this food. At least somebody paid for this food. I'm not about to let it go to waste. My stomach was growling because it was set on eating these shrimps. And I'm finna eat these shrimps and I'm finna drink this drink and y'all finna entertain me. That's what it is, okay? And you could have sat there and ate your fucking food. But then you want to talk about something you're not antagonized or you're not doing this and doing that. But you literally pulled your phone out and was filming only the parts where Wendy was getting into it. Like, girl, shut the hell up. And then, Giselle, let me talk to you for a second. Because you're a bitch. You're a pure bitch. And I don't care what nobody say. I don't care if you don't like me calling her that. It is what it is. Because at the end of the day, Wendy said, I don't care who it is, even if it was dumbass Mia. I said, damn. And Mia just sat there like this. Even if it was dumbass Mia, I still would have said, that's not right. That's not right. Don't do that and all that stuff. I would have stopped it. That's what I would have did. Here comes Giselle talking about something because they called her out and they called Ashley out on the way that they flip-flop on their stance with the violence and stuff or the assault situations that happened from Monique and to what happened with Wendy. What it all boils down to, Giselle, because, you know, Candace, Ashley, that was like, Ashley basically said nobody was standing up for Wendy and not saying nothing or whatever. And that's why she was like, that shit is wrong. Nobody had her back. Well, we all was saying that Monique was wrong. You know what I'm saying? Of course, Candace still pissed off about the fact that, you know, and even Andy said, you know, this was a little bit, Monique's situation was way more violent and you still like put a witness statement out there for her on her behalf and all that stuff. But yet, you know, you kind of flip. Y'all get it. Y'all get it. Y'all got that. I know Monique. Monique can act like she don't be sitting at home watching this shit. She knows she do. And if she put a post up or if she tweets something, girl, y'all already know that she was watching. And then they gonna probably say, somebody sent this to me. That's the thing that they always say. Somebody sent this to me. Girl, we'll see. We'll see. But when it comes to Giselle talking about I don't look at the whole situation with Monique and Wendy the same, because Monique, she beat that girl. She really hurt that girl. Wendy didn't do that. That didn't happen to Wendy or whatever. I'm sitting here like, what? It don't matter if it was a drink or a fucking fist that went into somebody's face. Assault is fucking assault. And like they called her out, it is your moral character that is lacking, because Giselle literally just said, fuck it. I don't like her, okay? And that's just what it is. She don't like Wendy, so she is not going to call out Mia, hold her heels to the fire, and say, bitch, you was 100% wrong. You shouldn't have did that shit or anything. She's not going to do that, because what she says, she don't like her. Because at the end of the day, she thinks, listen, assault is assault. Whether it's a drink being thrown, a cup being thrown, a purse being thrown, you're physically hurting somebody or you're physically trying to harm somebody. That is what it is. Any type of object that's going to try to... Assault is assault. Whether it's a punch, a kick, a purse, or whatever that you're using to try to harm somebody. And if it touched them, that is fucking assault, okay? So for Giselle to sit up there trying to, make it seem like, oh, well, she just got a little bit of water on her. No, it's assault. If she wanted to press charges against her, she sure enough could have. She could have had Mia up in the goddamn court for that shit. You could press charges for anything. So y'all look like the type of group that'll do some shit like that. Ask Candace. Anyway, but see, I ain't even gonna do that to Candace, because you know what? Monique did fuck her ass up. But anyway, it ain't right. It ain't right. But I understand if she would have wanted to press charges, because Candace can't fight. Candace can't fight. So she said the next best thing I'm going to do is file them charges and try to get the bitch locked up. And truthfully, if I couldn't fight, bitch, I probably would have did the same thing. But see, I fight. And let me tell you something. Monique would have got her ass pummeled, okay? No shade. And I actually like Monique, but I'm just saying, if I was in this situation, she ain't have a right opponent. That's just what it is. She ain't had a right opponent. Because I know Monique from the hood, bitch. Or she from around that way or whatever. She got a little street smarts or whatever. So I already knew she could handle herself. But anyway, see, I wouldn't last on this show, because I wouldn't have. I'd have been like, all right, she fought the bitch, so what? That's just how I am. Like, we fight every day. Anyway, moving on from that, we ain't trying to get into that. Girl, what else was going on? Wendy gives this comment and this whole soliloquy of a monologue, and she started a little tearing up. She was like, bitch, it hurt me or whatever, because at the end of the day, I could have fucked your ass up. I could have beat the dog shit. I could have dragged you, and I could have mollywopped it. I could have did all the fucking that, but I didn't. And then the fact that you can't even do all, I said, girl, fuck them tears. Fuck them tears, girl. Mia said, but yet... She was like, because we were supposed to, and then that's why we came together, and I came down there to talk to you or whatever, and I thought that we was going to end this stuff and blue, 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 and it hurt me to my core. I said, oh, girl, what's going on? Don't get that bitch them tears. And I was thinking the same thing that was said when Giselle said, but weren't y'all showing each other y'all pussy? And Mia said, girl, she don't know what she want. She don't know what it is. She said, girl, we'll get to it when we get to it. And Wendy said, oh, fuck it. We all show each other our vaginas or whatever. Blame the tequila. I was just about to say it was because they was drunk and she thought y'all was cool. Okay? But this is why I just didn't understand why Mia was trying to be, not Mia, but Wendy was trying to be cool with these girls. Because, bitch, they don't fuck with you. They really fucking don't. So I wouldn't apologize for shit. I wouldn't try to be cool with none of these hoes, okay? It is what it is. If you want to ice me out, bitch, ice me out and game me up. That's just what it would have been. I said, child, y'all are a fucking mess. So... I'm sorry. My sister might be getting some lots. Look at the trend that I just started. But anyway, so we get back and Andy wanted to be serious with us. Girl, we had all this mess going on and now we want to get serious. I said, all right. And truthfully, honestly, to be quite fair, I feel as though this should have been a segment of its own, like a separate situation. Like it could have been like a 15-minute type of thing so that, they can talk about it, because it is something that has been coming up throughout the whole series of Real Housewives of Potomac. But it's just been way more prevalent the past couple of seasons, and way more this season. You know what I'm saying? That people have been talking about colorism and calling it out. And again, we have some people that feel as though colorism is not happening on this show. It's just that people don't like each other. And there's people that feel like colorism is happening on this show. And I'm here to tell you that two things can be true at the same time. It could be, which it is, that people just don't like each other. And it also is a little dash of colorism. And let's be honest, and let me just let you understand before somebody say, girl, ain't nobody doing no colorist things or whatever. It's just that they don't like. Nobody is going to come out and say, I'm a colorist. Nobody is intentionally trying to be a colorist, I feel, on this show. But at the same time, people can do things that can be considered to be colorist and not realize it. So it may not even be the intention that they're doing it. That may not be what they want to do, and they don't even realize that they're doing it, but it can happen. You understand? So I would like for you to open up your minds a possibility of it happening. So to say that it's not, you're being very close-minded, and you're trying to basically make it seem like, oh, no, that ain't no issue, and it is. It's an issue because it's been an issue in our community as Black people. It's been an issue in just about every community, every nationality, every ethnic group who have lighter and darker people. Okay, we see it in the Asian community where they want to be light. They want to be as close to white as they want to, as they can, and they will get discriminated against if you're darker. We see it in the Hispanic and Latin community, where the light and the dark. We see it in the African American community, light and dark. We see it in other communities where they're bleaching and stuff like that, because you get preferential treatment, I guess, with in their minds when you're lighter, because they see it happening to mostly light people getting treated more better. All right, but I applied the fact to Andy that he said this is a topic that he shouldn't really be touching or trying to talk about, because he, as a white man, has never experienced this and he don't know much about it. He does not have the knowledge or the range to even talk about it. And at first they wanted to get a moderator in, but the producers or whatever said that they wanted them to actually talk about it amongst themselves, and they did not want a moderator to come in. That's what the cast had decided. And so, they started off with Candace, and she basically read the definition of what colorism is. And then with that definition, basically being treated unfairly if you're darker skinned. That's just what it is, okay? And usually colorism, the difference between colorism and racism, and bigotry and all that stuff is racism and all that stuff is being treated. You have Black folks or a sect of folks that's not white or whatever having racism against them, you know what I'm saying, by outside people. Colorism is when it's happening within our own community, okay? Just in case people didn't know. So basically she was just like, she gives the definition, and then she brings up the example of how she's always labeled as the crybaby, the emotional person, the screamer or whatever. And people call her out on it. People talk so much about her about it. She get a lot of flack about it. But then when it comes to Robin, who does similar things and have done similar things and been aggressive or whatever, people don't say much about it. And then Robin comes to talk about something. Well, people have said something, and like Candace said, no, baby, they saying something now because of the issue that's going on. That's when it's being brought up. Because again, like they brought up the example of how she came at Ashley in her restaurant, the whole situation between Robin and Monique, and other things, okay? And at the end of the day, those are good examples. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that Giselle gonna sit herself at her big age after listening to that definition of colorism and say, what does that have to do with colorism and the color of your skin? It took for Karen to break it down and to basically say, it's the preferential treatment. It's it's the way that because of her skin color, you know, people subconsciously not really realizing that they're coming harder at this darker skinned woman, and instead of Robin, who has done literally the same thing in some instances. You know what I'm saying? And also, in that case with Candace, I ain't gonna just say, you know, for most people, it really just ain't colorism with that. It's just that, girl, you just do that too much. This is basically it. But I get the example. And it's other examples that they could have did. And I was literally sitting there looking at Giselle like, I see, that's why your kids, let me stop and see, that's what, and people feel like, oh well, they got dark skin or brown skin daughters, or they got this person and they're friends with this person or whatever, so no, you can't be a colorist. That absolutely means nothing. You know, it's racist people out here that are married to people that they're racist to, and they just like this person. That's just not how it works, baby. Okay? Like I said, you could be doing stuff and you not realizing it, you know? And I'm just sitting here looking at Giselle like, girl, what? Karen had to break that shit down with the plantation and, you know, going back to slavery, house nigga, field nigga, you know, all that stuff. Girl, I said break it on down, bitch, because we need to put it in layman's terms for goddamn Giselle, you know? But then Ashley was like, you know, like a lot of y'all have said too, that, you know, people like Ashley, whatever, has gotten into it with everybody. And I said, exactly. Like I said, two things can be true at the same time. And she acknowledged that she does have privilege in that aspect. And Candace said, that's just what it is. And they also said, you know, it's the acknowledgement. Just like you, Giselle, don't feel like you felt as though, you know, Chris made you uncomfortable, and you just wanted to put that out there and want people to understand that's how he made you feel. This is how it makes her feel, and you have to acknowledge it, and that's what she feels, okay? You know what I'm saying? You acknowledge it, you know, and that's just what it is or whatever. I mean, they touched on it briefly. It was cute for what it was. It could have been, I was surprised that they put it up in there. They could have literally did a 15-minute special on it or whatever if they wanted to. But, you know, because it's a topic. It's a topic. And I know it's still going to be people in the comments that say, that wasn't even necessary. We ain't no colorism. Because y'all dumbass don't listen. I'm sorry to say it like that. But, you know, some people just don't understand what two things can be true at the same time means. But, all right. Child, they brought Jacqueline out, and basically we ain't getting nowhere. You know. Jacqueline basically said, you know, she felt some type of way about Mia, because this is not what they wanted to happen, but, you know, she felt disappointed. Mia is not as close to Jacqueline's family as she once was. Jacqueline's sister is pissed as shit. Jacqueline said, you know, Mia was like, she was trying to uplift Jacqueline. Jacqueline said, no, girl, you was up there trying to uplift. You talk about something, you trying to help me out or whatever. Let me get this straight, okay? My sister was a nanny for me first. And since you ain't had family and you ain't had nothing going on and you needed help, I said, sis, why don't you go over there and help and be the nanny for them? Okay, so this whole uplifting and this whole this, I said, all right. Truthfully, I just want to know the receipts that they got on each other, because this back and forth was kind of boring to me. It ain't popped the way that I wanted to pop, maybe because I was a little over the reunion by now because it's the end. And I was just like, oh, okay. She was like, girl, you want to go there? While you up there talking about stuff or whatever, talking about me, when your whole family and your whole business is in shambles. And they was like, God damn. I said, this ain't no goddamn moment, because we already knew it. Next thing you know, Mia want to bring out a box. Oh, we want to open up Pandora's box right now? Oh, you want to bring out your receipts? I'll bring out my receipts. You want to do that? Baby, just like we were so confused during the season when they got into it, everybody on the stage was confused about what was happening right about now. I was too, but I was here for every last moment of it, okay? And that's just how part 2 ended. Anyway, part 3 is going to be a 90-part episode. Girl, I don't give a fuck about Robin and Juan, okay? He cheated, she stayed, it's fake, it is what it is, and that's it. That's it. But girl, we'll be back next week. Y'all tell me how y'all feel. I'll see y'all later. Peace.